It is time. This is a bit of a late start. We haven't been here in a while. There's a lot going on. So first of all, hi, Packer Nation, Lockdown Nation. How the heck are you? It's been a minute. Our hearts, I think, well, mine was partially recovered. I was at about 60% after the Niners game. Now some bleep has happened. So the bat signal has gone out. Dustin and I are here. We're going to work backwards. There's a lot happening. So let's work from what has happened latest. So even though, this broke a couple hours ago, we have the imaging. Let's roll the breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story.
Breaking news.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Right now!
All right. So if you haven't heard, Davante Adams is no longer a Green Bay Packer. 2 hours ago, Davante Adams was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders, reuniting with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. And in exchange, the Packers will get the Raiders' first round and second round pick of this upcoming draft. So, for those listening, this is the first Dustin and I have spoken on it. You are getting our live reaction. So, Dustin, what's going on here?
Honestly, I kind of saw this coming a little bit. We kind of knew he wasn't going to play in the franchise tag. That was kind of, pretty clear from him that he wasn't going to play. And then right when we franchise tagged him, it's like, okay, it's like, when you talked about earlier with like the sign and trade, like there had to be something with that. Like there was going to be no reason for us to franchise tag him. First of all, because we really can't afford him. Like, I don't know how we're going to create the space. Like we were still over the cap. And then on top of it, like he came out and said he wasn't going to play. So it's like, wow, we franchise tag him. It's like something's going on. And then now to see this, it's like, okay, it's like this kind of had to be a planned thing where, there's no way we could have paid him 5 years, $141 million. Like there's no way we could afford that. So it sucks to see him go, but, we were kind of delaying the inevitable. At least we got something for him and got some value. I guess that's the best thing we can talk about.
So there's a couple things that crossed my mind when I saw this. My instant reaction was, what the hell are they doing? And then this week, especially with baseball, obviously, if you're watching the stream, I have my Cubs stuff on. Spring training open today. But I've been thinking a lot about timelines. With all teams, you have to worry about their timelines. So Aaron Rodgers, that's the other thing we're going to get to in a second. We're still talking about Adams. But Aaron Rodgers signs this big, giant, massive contract last week. And took his cap number way down. So everyone's thinking, oh, okay, this is their door to sign Adams. Well, according to Ian Rappaport, Schefter, Josina Anderson, I believe, has chimed in. I guess Rodgers negotiated this deal. According to Rappaport specifically, he said that Davante was gone. He knew this when he was negotiating his deal. So I guess now I wonder about the timeline because we had this window with Aaron Rodgers where it's 3 years, okay? He's got a 4-year contract, 2 dummy years. So max 3-year window with Aaron Rodgers. And you have the best receiver in the game. So, and you re-signed Devondre Campbell. And now that Adams is gone, they are re-signing Rasul Douglas, according to Josina Anderson. So that he's coming back. So you signed all of these guys, but now you traded away, I would argue, your second best player. Maybe not most important, but second best. So truthfully, because now they legitimately have no receivers. MVS, free agent. Randall Cobb, they restructured, but at this point, Randall Cobb is basically there because he's security blanket for Aaron Rodgers. He's not what he was. Lazard, I don't really understand the NFL restricted free agency. So maybe you know the answer, Dustin. So they gave him a second round tender. So I don't know if he's back or not. I think he is.
So yeah, they make it sound confusing. So pretty much like they threw a second round tender on him. So pretty much if a team wants to pick him up, they have to give the Packers a second round pick and then they can sign him.
Okay. So basically we can assume pretty safely no one's going to give up a second for Allen Lazard if Davante Adams.
Unless someone really wants Allen Lazard, which is for a second, go right ahead.
Okay. Well, exactly. And that's kind of where I was going with this. The only person, they have 2 receivers right now, Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb. And yet this is their quote-unquote championship window. You just traded your second best player. So what's the timeline? Now, right before we went live. I believe it was Ian Rappaport. No, Evan Massey. I'm sorry. Evan Massey on Twitter is reporting that the Packers have serious interest in Juju Smith-Schuster, which tells me they're in a not transitioning because they're still going for the title this year, but they're also going after younger targets. Juju Smith-Schuster is only mid-20s. So even if they sign him long-term, if this is even a thing, if they get Juju long-term, now you have a piece that can help you now and is going to help you later because of his age. So I think it's going to be targets like that. Will Fuller, I know I've seen Will Fuller rumors again. I feel like we've been doing this for 3 years now. They're apparently in on Will Fuller again. So, and who knows, maybe they are looking at maybe a Julio Jones type because he's this build that they like, basketball player build. But it's interesting to see their process now where it's, oh, okay, we need to go for the championship this year. But we also need to start planning for the future. Now, with the Aaron Rodgers thing, I want to talk to you a little bit about Jordan Love, unless I suppose we shouldn't move on too quickly. There's just a lot of stuff happening. So Adams is gone. So my question to you, Dustin, is what is the actual impact of that? Because receivers, we've seen time and time again, receivers don't have the same impact as some of the other key positions like a star corner. You know, they could re-sign Jair now with all that extra opening of the money. And I feel like receivers and running backs, we pump them up to be more than they actually are. Not that they're a dime a dozen, because Davante is once in a generation. He's a generational talent. But Dustin, what do you think the actual impact of this will be?
It's really early to tell. Honestly, it really is. I mean, we have no idea how this is all going to pan out, who we're going to get instead. But I think they're going to rebuild pretty quick. I think we're not going to have much of a problem because, like you said, I think we're going to probably trade for somebody. Try to get a younger stud receiver, maybe not like top tier, but like someone who has good potential. And then number two, I mean, we're going to draft somebody first round for a receiver. We might even trade up to get somebody at this point. I mean, now we have that draft capital where we're like, okay, we can give guys a couple picks and move up to get someone we really want. Whether it's Olave, Wilson, Burks, I believe his name is, from Arkansas, I believe. I know it might not be Burks. I might be wrong on that.
You are right. So I just pulled it up. So Garrett Wilson, and hold on. When was this? Okay, so this is from February 22nd. Oh, we lost Dustin. Oh, there he is.
Sorry, people call me literally the worst times every single time.
Oh, no worries. So according to this, now this was written a month ago, so it's not super updated. And this is according to All Steelers. I've never heard of this website. Oh, it's SI.com, I guess. Doesn't matter. The number one wide receiver, according to this, is Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, then followed by Treylon Burks from Arkansas, then followed by Jameson Williams of Alabama. Those are their top three. I personally like Jameson Williams. I saw him in that Alabama game, and he did have that nasty injury. But, man, he was electric against that really good Georgia defense. That was my first thought was, well, okay, they have 2 picks. Now they have 22nd. And I believe I'd have to look up what the Raiders were the 22nd. So they have the 22nd pick for sure. And I believe their own pick is 26, 27, something like that.
Yeah, it's probably right behind them.
Yeah. So they're going to have 2 picks pretty close to each other. So they have options. Julio Jones was just released. We just talked about that. Juju, apparently they are in on. Will Fuller. So they have options. I don't know that I love any of those options. But it's interesting. You want to make a playoff push. You need game breakers, and Davante was the ultimate game breaker. And yes, you still have the dynamic running game, and that's cool. Tunyon, we assume, well, he's a free agent too, but I mean, I would assume they can get him back relatively cheap.
Yeah, I think he's the same situation as Czar right now. I think he's got a tender.
Oh,
I think he's a second round tender as well. So with his coming off that knee injury, I doubt anyone's gonna second round tender him.
Yeah. I guess if I'm a Packer fan tonight, I'm not going to lie to you. I was angry. I saw that. I'm like, you've got to be bleeping kidding me. Once again, we're told we're competing for championship, and they're selling parts off. But they sold a part off of a team that, frankly, didn't go anywhere last year. And now they have a chance. Okay, you can pick up. I saw Jarvis Landry, actually. That was the name I forgot. Jarvis Landry. Okay. He's a good possession guy. He's better than what Cobb is now. Cool. Cole Beasley was cut. I don't think Cole Beasley would be a decent fit here just with all the off the field nonsense. But I mean, the point being, they do have options, so it's not the end of the world. However, I also remember when Jordy Nelson was cut, I felt the same way. I was like, what are we doing? We got Jimmy Graham, or Jimmy Grandpa at that point, and then we cut Rodgers' number one guy. It turned out to be okay. They had Adams. I believe at this point they still had Cobb. It was okay. So that's kind of where I'm at tonight. I've come down. When I first saw it, I was mad, but now we're there. So, but this is the interesting part of this was apparently Aaron Rodgers knew that this was all an issue. Apparently Rodgers knew that he was not coming back, was the report. And yet he still got his contract here. That's interesting to me. Dustin, what's your reaction to that? Because I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, before he signed his contract, he had to have known Adams' future. I mean, there's no way he would have signed a contract not knowing his future. And I mean, I think that's kind of where it came down to is, I was thinking about this the other day is, how much transparency is coming from the Packers right now. Because there was so much up in the air until tonight. Now it's kind of clear where they're heading with a lot of things, but there was no transparency to like the fans of what was happening. Granted, obviously they like to keep things on wraps, but it was a lot up in the air. And it's like, how are we going to clear all this cap space and still sign Adams to a huge deal? It almost seemed kind of inevitable to let him go at a point because, like we talked about, right after the season ended, is it better to try to sign and trade him and, try to get something for him rather than just let him walk, So, but, now the good thing is with this is we can get some depth with our receivers. We can get, 3 pretty good receivers to where, instead of every team realizing the ball's going to Davante Adams now, hey, we got 3 guys to throw to, and now it's like defenses have to adjust that. It's like, oh, crap. Now we have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball with 3 different good receivers and a good tight end. So, I mean, that makes things a lot more interesting. So now, like, I do feel good about it, but it's gonna depend where the pieces fall. That's really what it's gonna depend on.
Well, and okay, so before I get into my what happens now thing, even though I've kind of already touched on it, this is according to Rob Domofsky. Per a source, Packers were willing to pay Adams equally to what the Raiders gave him, but Adams preferred to play elsewhere. Aaron Rodgers was aware of the developments with Adams as they unfolded in recent days. So, essentially, he knew he was gone and was like, well, I guess that is what it is. And obviously, the Raiders make a lot of sense for him. The Raiders are trying to keep up with the arms race that's happening in the AFC West all of a sudden. That's just wild between Russell Wilson and Khalil Mack. It's just that division's going to be crazy fun. But you're right. Now you have these savings. You bring back Rasul Douglas. Okay, well, now maybe you go get Jarvis Landry and Will Fuller, or Juju and Will Fuller, or Juju and Julio. Now all of a sudden, oh, hey, we got 2 guys you got to worry about instead of just, hey, triple cover Adams and Lazard, who's not quick by any means. I mean, he's not scaring anybody, or a washed up Randall Cobb, the corpse of Randall Cobb. Like, they didn't. The problem in that San Francisco game is they only had one option. And I think the more I think about it, there was no diversity in what the offense was trying to do. All the scheming and the motion, it was just disappeared. Like they just didn't run it. And now Adams is gone, so the good news is they have to do something. Currently, they have 2 receivers on their roster. So if you're worried that, oh God, what is it? They have to do something. They don't have a choice. And they are interested, according to Adam Schefter, and this shouldn't surprise anybody, they are trying to acquire a veteran receiver. At least 1, if not 2. So we'll see. Now, the Aaron Rodgers piece of this is also complex. It's complex because he took a team-friendly deal, assuming, well, at the time, we all assumed that was to get Adams' contract. That didn't happen, although the Packers were willing to pay. So, and part of me also wonders, and maybe you could chime in on this, are we sure that locker room was as hunky-dory as we all originally thought? Because Darius Smith is gone now, too, and that looked like it got really nasty, per rumors.
Yeah, it was It's hard to say because, like I was saying before, that there was no transparency in kind of what happened and what was going on. Like, and that's why it's even hard to say anything because, like, I have no idea. Like, there was like Rogers wasn't talking, Adams isn't talking, Smith isn't talking. It's like what was going on because like in the middle of the season, we knew that Smith was frustrated with the Packers. It's like, okay, it's like, why? What's going on? Because they don't want to give you a contract like right now. It's like, and then on top of it, it's like, okay, it's like, I get you're frustrated because your team isn't paying you, but like, you're not playing currently. Like, why would a team pay you all this money when you're not playing? It makes absolutely no sense. It's like not showing up to your job and saying, I want my biweekly paycheck. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and they got Rashawn Gary who broke out last year.
Yeah, we have Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith, who is cheaper and probably just as productive. So,
at this point,
yeah, it's like we have no idea the transparency, and maybe this is all the Packers front office, but I find that hard to believe that just because they're not paying them that they're this pissed off. Well, there's got to be more to it.
I 100% agree. And look, this mix of players couldn't get it done. We've been looking at the same team for the last 3 years, couldn't get it done. They got close once, really. Because the NFC Championship game against the Niners, they really didn't deserve to be there. They kind of had an easy path to get there. That team wasn't very good. They were 13-3. Look, you could tell, well, they made it to the NFC Championship. That team was kind of fraudulent. I think we all kind of knew that. I remember going into that game, we're going to get smashed. If we win, cool. We're playing with house money. Then they should have won the Tampa game. I think we all kind of agreed. Brady did not play great. They got lucky in a couple of places, and then obviously the end of the game, we know what happened there. And then this past year, they shit the bed at home on Saturday night against the Niners again. That group wasn't apparently going to get it done. Now you have an opportunity to diversify your offense even more, get some more game breakers instead of having, as we've said like 8 times now and keep repeating ourselves. Now you can add more pieces instead of just having one really good weapon or one elite weapon. Well, now you get 2 or 3 really good ones. So we'll see how that shakes out. Let's just touch on some of the other stuff. Preston Smith got an extension. Devondre Campbell is back. According to Josina Anderson, the expectation is Rasul Douglas, now with Davante Adams' cap number totally going away, that Rasul Douglas will be back. So they're bringing some guys back. So this team's not going to be a total dumpster fire. Like, yes, you traded your second best player, but they still have a lot of their pieces, especially on defense.
Yeah, and like we touched about before, if we bring everyone back, what's going to change? And like we said this right after the 49ers game, what's going to change from last year to this year? Like what's going to change? There's no point in re-signing all these people and having the same outcome where we fall just short every time. It's like, that's not the goal, to fall short every time. So I think, we were talking rebuild because we thought Rodgers was going to leave, but now that, he's back, we can do a semi-rebuild where we can, like you said, pick up some pieces. And, obviously keeping guys like Campbell, Smith, and Douglas are, big pieces of our defense especially. And not alone, who knows if they pick a receiver in the first round. They could pick there's a lot of defensive guys this year. There's a lot of, this is actually a really good draft. Yep. So I could see it going both ways. Like if they would draft, go up and pick Jordan Davis, I would completely understand.
Oh, I'd love that.
Just a generational type player. I would 100% understand if they would pick him.
That dude bench presses buses. I am so in for that.
Well, and just his 40-yard dash, he's 341 pounds. He ran a 4.78.
That
is just mind blowing.
Yeah, that should not be humanly possible. No. That way.
Not even a little bit. He's almost 6'7".
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's nuts. That's just nuts.
He probably runs as fast as some NBA guys. For real.
Yeah, the ridiculous stat was that he ran faster than Patrick Mahomes, and what was the other stat? I think he benched more than, I'm trying to think. I couldn't remember, but it's pretty much some just crazy stats. Pretty much just running faster than Patrick Mahomes at 341 pounds is just insane, just mind blowing.
Yeah. So they have options. No, that doesn't mean I'm not sad. I love Davante, and actually, for those watching the stream, the bookcase over my shoulder here was going to be gone, and next season was going to have a Davante Adams signed jersey. Well, I have the signed jersey, but someday he'll be in the Packer Hall of Fame. Right, exactly. It's like, of course, someday he'll be in the Packer Hall of Fame, so the value is still there, although I'm a little bummed. And before we totally shut everything down for the night, according to Jason B. Hirschhorn, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm sorry if I did just totally botch your name. Complete list or incomplete list of veteran wideouts in the free agent market: Will Fuller, Julio Jones, Jarvis Landry, Juju Smith-Schuster, Sammy Watkins. And there also has been rumors. Now, again, this is one of those rumor things on Twitter that you probably shouldn't read all that much. But NFL rumors on Twitter at NFL Rooms, which already is a little sketchy. And who knows? Apparently, several Packer players are recruiting Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham together. Now, the thing I don't understand about that is Odell Beckham has a torn ACL and probably wouldn't even be back till December at the earliest, if I understand that right. So I don't really understand that. But, I mean, they have options if they want to look in the trade market. Apparently, Tyler Lockett has been dangled out there on the trade market. So, look, it's going to be weird. And this offseason is just going to keep getting weirder. But their quarterback's happy, so they don't have to worry about that. They can just focus on adding to what they currently have. I'm trying to – there was a lot that happened while we were away on our little sabbatical. Is there anything else we should touch on? Look, folks, we are totally winging tonight's show. I literally – on Thursdays, I have a bowling league with my family and my girlfriend. So I literally saw this, texted Dustin, emergency pod. Yep. I got home immediately and we started recording. So is there anything I'm missing?
I don't know if we touched the special teams coach. We let him go.
Oh, yep. We got Pit Boss Rich Bisaccia, special teams coach. Which third one? What is that? The third or fourth one in 4 years?
Yeah. It's let's just pray that he's the right guy for the job and he can get us back to where we need to be. I'm trying to think. I think that's kind of it. We got to see kind of how this all plays out, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. Yeah,
and if something else breaks, we will be back. And obviously something's probably going to have to break, especially in the free agent market. And it sounds like they're playing in the receiver end of the pool, so we'll see. It's going to be an interesting couple weeks, but thank you for watching. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials, Facebook, at Corner Lockdown on Twitter. You can subscribe to our YouTube page, where for the rest of the offseason, we haven't really talked about a schedule. We'll probably pop in here and there. Maybe, I know Alec this year, but maybe we can do some sort of draft show that's not the entire draft this year. Maybe we just do 20 unless they make a trade. I don't know. But we'll be back periodically, and then once training camp fires up, we'll probably be back once a week like normal. So, but yeah, we'll be back hopefully when they sign either Juju or Julio or just a name that makes you feel better about the situation. But yes, tonight, Davante Adams is a Las Vegas Raider. The Packers are on they're in the hunt for some receivers, and they get the Raiders' first round pick this year and their second round pick this year. So that's a decent haul for the best receiver in football, but he's no longer in Green Bay. So it is what it is. This team has been perplexing since January, and that hasn't changed. So thank you for watching. Again, follow us on all of our socials. We will be back if anything breaks. But until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, if I can find the imaging, it's been a minute. And as always,